Hey there, this is Valerie McDowell, your writer, editor, author, book coach, and consultant. It is August 3rd, the first Wednesday of the month. Happy August if I haven't seen you or you haven't seen me. And we are here, and sometimes life just gives you what you need to share or talk about because it's not all roses. It's not all, joy and peace every moment of every day of many days, but you have to roll with it. You have to adjust, you have to shift, you have to do whatever you need to do. So today, and by the way, I'm Valerie McDowell. I work with Writing and Time Challenge clients, helping them get their stories told and their books published. And in the last week, we just shared some our author showcase because we've just finished 30 books in 30 months and with some phenomenal people. And we'll be doing our second portion of the summer edition of Author Showcase at the end of this month on August 25th. So be sure to join us there live. So today we're just sharing with you because this is the day we put you back at the top of your writing list. We know lots of things can happen, and I'm going to be sharing about something that happened with me that can get you thrown off from your writing schedule or whatever it is you need to do. But I just wanted to share today, in today's topic, and I'm not going to be before you long because I just have one point, okay? Just one point to make. And the point is, do it according to plan. Okay, do it according to plan. So, as a writer, as an author, as a book coach, and as a storyteller, I'm gonna tell you a story today, okay? So, I had this incident in which my neighbor's back fence has been leaning against my shed. Now, it's leaning against the back of the shed where I really couldn't see it, and I didn't even know that was the issue. Hey, B Sweets, good to see you, dear. Listen to this crazy story. So, my handyman, who has done amazing work at my house, he mentioned to me that, hey, so-and-so's fence is leaning up against your shed. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. And so, the next time I saw my neighbor, I was like, hey, your fence is leaning up against my shed. He was like, and this is someone who doesn't really talk much, especially not to us. So I was just like, okay, I'll just mention. And he was like, he did a head nod, y'all. Okay. He's like, all right. So I was like, okay, whatever. He'll take care of it because I know he's a contractor, right? Well, fast forward count it 2 years, nothing's been done. And again, because I'm not really at the shed, I'm not in that corner, I'm not really thinking about it. But like after 2 years, it's like, hey, especially since his dog poops in my yard sometimes. So it's like, let's just kind of take care of it. Let's be good neighbors, all right? So anyway, fast forward to this year, and I make a call to my handy dandy, code enforcement people who are, in my town. I live in a great town. They do great trash service. Oh my God, they come to your door, pick it up, put it back. No slinging your trash can looking for it, okay? So shout out to my town. I'll call the name later. But anyway, so, all right, I'm telling the story. So all this is taking place. So 2 years, it's never done. I send an email to the code enforcement. And so they show up at his house and they tell him, dude, you need to move your fence. But, okay, this is where the story turns. But then they knock on my door and it's like, excuse me, Miss McDowell? Yes. Your shed is too close to the property line. You need to move it. Wait, what? I need to move a shed. Now this shed, y'all, I don't know if you got sheds, 10 by 11 by 12, 13 something. It's pretty big. It's a good size. Cause I got like 3 lawnmowers in there, furniture. It's a lot of stuff in there. But that was like, move the shed? Like, okay, to put his fence off my shed, it's like a $5, $10 post max, okay? But to move my shed is like moving a house. I'm like, wait, what? Oh my God. Oh my God. All right. So anyway, and then they're like, I said, well, how is this supposed to take place? I tried to throw, I'm a single woman, by who's going to do this? They just looked at me like, I was like, okay. Anyway, so I have just been contemplating this in my head while working with my clients, while publishing books, while doing author showcases until this miracle happened in which, God came together and was like, I'm going to send somebody that you don't know who's going to just show up. And this man just showed up in my life one day, and I happened to mention it to him because it was like within that same week. And he was like, I'll take care of that for you. Who are too. So I'm like, okay. Anyway, turns out he's a licensed contractor in another state, but he was here visiting his kids. So I was just like, okay, great. So he goes out there, he looks at it, and it's like, yeah, this wasn't permitted. And then he's like, hey, can I look inside? Oh, this wasn't built to specs. Yeah, they got 2x4s where they should have 4x4s. Then he started getting real technical. It reminded me of when I'm talking to clients about publishing or some other aspect of their book, and they're like, I got nothing. So I had nothing for him. And he's just like, it wasn't mansplaining, but it was like explaining stuff that is not in my wheelhouse. So I was just like, you're the expert. I'm going to trust your judgment because you came out of nowhere and you're going to take care of this. So anyway, this week he was back in this state because he lives in another state. Okay. And for the last 2 days, so Monday and Tuesday, this wonderful gentleman planned using chains, boards, all kinds of stuff. He's like, we're going to move it. I said, do I need to take everything out? Oh, no. We got you. Don't worry about that. There's a lot of stuff in the shed. Don't worry. I got this. I'm like, I'm going to roll back here and I'm just going to go in my office in my house and I'm going to let you handle that. So he and 2 other gentlemen, they moved that shed today, y'all. I had to go downtown. When I came back, he was like, hey, y'all, where are you? Downtown. All right, we're going to be leaving. You've been there an hour. Yeah, we moved it already. It's done. What? Oh, my God. So I'm telling this crazy story because if the shed had been built according to plan with a permit and some more stuff, none of this would have happened. Because what this guy told me about my neighbor who's a contractor is that he probably knew that he doesn't have to get that fence off your shed until you move your shed over because he knows that there's not enough clearance, for him to actually put his piece together because he needs to be able to go in on both sides, which I didn't know the shed was there when I bought the house 12 years ago. So, okay. But anyway, all of that to make my one point for the night, which is stick to the plan. Do the job according to plan. Okay. When people consult with me, when people become my clients, they say they want to work with me. I say, what are we going to do first? We're going to work on your outline. We got to get that outline. What's the point? Where are you writing this? Where do you, all the questions. So we know we are building our blueprint. We cannot build the book without the blueprint, which is your outline. They built that shed without a blueprint. Therefore, even though it's sturdy and he's put some stuff together so it won't move and all kinds of things, he's like, you're good. There's nothing going to happen to it. We just moved it over and up, but the thing is, all of that could have been avoided because my cost, which was a couple of $1,000s, okay, that was going towards some other great things in the yard that now have to be delayed because this $10 fix for him has now cost me. And it's just like, I don't want that to happen to you. Do it right the first time. Do it right the first time because that will save you some problems. So what's the lesson in all of this? It's like you meet wonderful people, because it was like people I know were not available, couldn't do it, was like, I'm not really sure. I had all kinds of people like, well, we just got to tear it down and start new. It's a great shed. It's like tearing it down means tearing it down, taking all the stuff out. And then what do I do with all the stuff in it? So all of the options really wasn't working until this guy shows up with, we're just going to slide it over. Really? You can slide. Now, he put some poles in the ground, put cement, dug up my grass, did some, he's like, no, throw some seed down there. It'll come back. The dirt is good. It's like, yeah. So I'm like, I just got to water the grass or the grass that's coming, and again, crazy story, but this is our life. And it's also the things of our books are made of. It's like, these are the stories that when we're writing our books, because this is something you could throw in a fiction book, but it can also be in your nonfiction book about what do you do to move forward in life, because this was about dealing with the problem. The code enforcement, they were going to come back. They give you 30, 60, 90 days to get stuff done. You can dispute it or do whatever. But I was like, I really didn't want to think about it anymore. So it was just like when this gentleman showed up, I'm like, praise God. Let's handle this and be done with it. Because now I never have to worry about it. I can dance around the whole shed, okay? You know, they had it just too close to the fence. That's it. You know, but if it had been done right, all the fingers, okay? If it had been done right. So I don't know if you've had to experience something in your life or in your family, in your business, in your home, where after something breaks down or after a situation occurs, you find out it wasn't built on the right foundation. They didn't do they didn't do their due diligence, as they call it. The background check wasn't done. All kinds of things. I remember when Oprah Winfrey, after she did all the work to build her school in South Africa, I remember her talking about she picked the mortar between the bricks. She did all these things, but she did all her work on the outside. Because not long after they opened that school, there was a charge of someone molesting the girls. You know, she said she was devastated. She cried. She said she sobbed because they did the external work without doing the internal work. And some of the internal work, like with the shed, is the foundation, is the permit, are all the things that help you, even though nobody sees the permit from the outside, you know, who comes over, visit, oh, that's a nice shed. They didn't see the permit. They didn't see that you had this plan. They didn't see the property line, none of that. But when you do the things, it's just like, you know, I love HGTV, and sometimes I'll watch the shows where they're correcting the problems. You know, I think there's a show like Fix My Wrecked House or something, you know, where you start out doing stuff, but you didn't know what you were doing. You know, you get work done by people who are not professional. They say they can do things, but they can't. You know, it's like I've had clients that when they've run into problems with things, it's like, because I have experience, because I have expertise in getting books done, I can, you know, assess where the problem is and fix it. But if you bring me something and I don't know where this came from, I'm going to be like, we can just tear this down and start all over again. You know, so that's the lesson. It's like, build it according to plan. It's like, that's the best way to get things done. Because even in writing your story, yes, it may be like boring, or it may not be the sexy, fun parts of writing the story. But if you get that framework, that blueprint, that foundation laid properly, then as you build your story, it will have legs to stand up and it won't fall down. All right. So that's my story for today. I brought real life into the Write It Out Wednesday, because sometimes you got to write about the real stuff that happens in your life, not the stuff you want people to be like, oh my God, 10 principles on how to live the best life. Like, yeah, you'll get there. But sometimes you got to deal with the stuff that just messes with you for a moment, you know. But I'm just happy to report, and thank you for the hands up, because I was like, hallelujah, the shed is moved. You know, I really wanted to be here because I wanted a video of it, but nonetheless, it's done. And sometimes we can't record every moment of our lives, okay? So that's the life of social media. But in real life, things happen and people go on about their business, all right? So thank you guys for watching tonight. I just wanted to share this kind of fun story, you know, crazy story all at the same time, because that happens in our life. You know, we can't control everything that happens, and even you don't pick your neighbors. So hey, you got to work with what you got. But I'm grateful for this gentleman, his son and his nephew, for coming and moving my shed, y'all, because they did some stuff. I was like, this some old man teaching to y'all. It was biblical principles in action. It was all kind of strength and delegation and I was like, I could write a story about what I just saw watching them do this work, you know? And so, you know, there are things to be pulled from everything that happens in your life. You know, you just have to have the right attitude, because I could have been pissed off, mad, trying to do stuff to my neighbor. I ain't got time for that. Exactly. To God be the glory. I am not into revenge, none of that stuff. It's just like, you know what? Okay, if I need to do what I need to do, if they want me to move it, it's done. So when they sneak back in their little car and their cameras, because I be seeing them in the neighborhood, it's like, they'll be like, oh, it look like she moved it. Okay, we're gonna knock on the door so we can go measure. He gave me an extra 6 inches on both sides, y'all. So he's like, no problems, okay? So I like that. Do extra. When you do it right, you can do extra so that there are no problems, okay? So even when you're doing your job, even when you're doing your work, it's like you will have time to do extra if you do it right the first time. But when you just pulling it together and piecing it together, it's just like, you're just hoping it works. It passes. You hoping somebody's not looking with a fine tooth comb. But, that's me as the editor. I will be like, wait, that word don't go, like, wait, I thought that person's name was this in the other chapter. Someone gave me something in which they started a book with a story and it said part 2. And so I wrote back, I was like, where's part 1? It's like, don't start me at part 2 and I don't know about part 1. I need some introduction, some background. I need the backstory. I need something like, we keep wanting to get ahead before we get the foundation laid. So again, 1 point tonight, do it according to plan. You'll avoid all kinds of problems going forward. So I'm Valerie McDowell, your writer, editor, author, book coach, and consultant, having fun on this first Wednesday of August on Write It Out. And I will see you soon. Bye.